Thank you, Diane. Good morning. Welcome to North Chapel. I am Clara Jimenez, and I will be the coordinator for today's service. Our minister, Reverend Dr. Leon Dunkley, is away for the week, but for today's reflection, we are excited to welcome Deanna Jones, who will speak of love as a core value. Deanna's bio is in the order of service. And again, welcome. It's really nice to see all of you on this special weekend for the Woodstock community. If you are visiting today, we would love you to sign the guest book, which is at the end of at the back of the church. And if your children are here, they are welcome to follow Chloe to the parlor later in the service after we sing them out. If you need assistance with hearing, there are devices at the back of the church that may be helpful to you. A reminder that we are still following COVID precautions, and there will be no coffee hour for now, but we encourage to visit with each other at the end of the service outside. I also have an important announcement from the Board of Trustees. By now, we hope that all of you have heard about the stewardship pledge for this year, and maybe you have completed your pledge already. And if you have, we say big thank you. If you need to know more information, please check our website, check In Touch, or there is some information again at the back of the church. But today, I have an update from Anne. Our goal for 22 is to raise $145,000 to support church programs and operations. As of this morning, we have raised $109,172, and we have 57 pledges. We are making a lot of progress, but we still have a bit to go, and we are in the last 2 weeks of the drive. So if you haven't pledged, please consider doing so as soon as possible. In fact, you can do that today. There are some envelopes, very colorful by the way. You cannot miss them, right at the back of the church, and you can drop that in the offering plate, or you can mail it to the church office. We are, as always, very grateful for your support. We also have an announcement that Sherry is going to deliver.
Bob Williamson asked me to read this. He's on his way back from Illinois, where he was visiting relatives. On Tuesday, December 14th, 5 o'clock to 5:30 on the Norwich Green, a candlelight vigil will be held to remember and honor all those who have died of gun violence in our country. December 14th marks the 9th year since Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre in Newtown, Connecticut caused the death of 20 children under the age of 7, 6 staff members, the shooter and his mother. 2 school staff members survived severe injuries. Firearm violence has risen nationwide from about 33,000 people killed in 2012 to 45,000 in 2021. The Sandy Hook massacre in a quiet town similar to Upper Valley towns awakened many to the rise in firearm violence in this country. We hope that you will attend Norwich on Tuesday at 5.
Thank you. There are also a lot of other things going on in North Chapel each week. Please take the time to read the announcements in your order of service and visit the church website for all the news. Deanna Jones through her good work at the Thompson Center or in our community in Pomfret. When I asked her, her bio is on the order of service, but when I asked her about something about her life that she may want to share, she mentioned that her youngest child is in kindergarten and her oldest is a senior in high school, and that keeps things interesting. But the most intriguing and little-known fact is that in her early 20s, Deanna sang harmony in a popular local band, singing country and classic rock. Years later, she tells me, she found one of their demo CDs signed by the band members at a yard sale. This highly collectible item was priced at 50 cents, so of course she had to buy this treasure. Deanna, welcome.
Thank you for sharing my fun story, the little known fact about me. I think most people know me either as a mom of one of those children or the senior center lady. And I love both of those identities, of course, but it is fun to have some other, past that you can look back on and remember fondly. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this beautiful service. It's funny how an opportunity like this can simultaneously fill you with fear and joy. And knowing Reverend Leon Dunkley and having felt inspired by some nugget of his wisdom or thoughtfulness, every single time I talked to him, I found myself wondering how on earth I could possibly have something meaningful enough to share with you all here. But sometime in the past few weeks, it occurred to me that being asked to share a reflection is a gift in and of itself, making me take the time to slow down and think about my blessings and put into words some things that I've been thinking about. And that I get to share them now with you, it's an honor, and I just thank you for listening. First, though, I would like to tell you a little bit about the Thompson Senior Center. I know many of you know quite a bit about it and serve there in different capacities. But in case some of you don't know, in a nutshell, the Thompson is a rec center for older adults. It's an aging resource center, a place for an affordable, nutritious, delicious meal that can be delivered to your home or shared with friends at the center. It's a place to assist with Medicare, insurance, or taxes. It's a place for lifelong learning, a place to socialize and enjoy special holiday events. It's a place to pick up medical equipment after surgery or a fall, and it's a place for fun and friendship or to give back and feel useful. Behind the scenes, it's a place you can call for support in signing up for your vaccine, for a Veggie Van Gogh delivery, or just for a friendly listening ear when you don't know who else to call. We strive to be the resource for our communities to age well. And in the past few years especially, this has meant evolving our services to meet the current needs of those we serve, implementing an aging at home support program where you can call with any questions, receive referrals for vetted providers for services like caregivers, housekeeping, or home repairs, and our newest program, which is facilitated home sharing to help provide companionship and possibly address in a small way housing issues that our communities face. Through the months and months of COVID, we launched our virtual senior center with programs online, and for those without computers, we held weekly phone conference calls for coffee chats and bingo games over the phone. Meals in the dining room became curbside pickup meals with a friendly check-in and a puzzle or a book or even toilet paper if you needed such a thing. If any of you have heard me talk about the Thompson before, it's very likely that you've heard me say, I love the Thompson. I do. I love what it provides the community. I love how the community rallies and supports us. I love the staff, and I especially love the participants. After 11 years at the Thompson, I still feel like I've landed my dream job, and I know that it's the exact right place for me to be. I say this having had the experience of working in nursing homes in New York State and in Kentucky, having been a home health and hospice aide, and having worked at a beautiful continuing care retirement community. And having done all that, I know that senior centers are where it's at for a happy, successful, aging well at home. And I love getting to be a part of the amazing group of staff, board members, volunteers that make up the Thompson. So in October, the Thompson board hosted a retreat with our outgoing and incoming board members. The hope was to help with the transition of a few longtime, very strong board members to the newer board leadership, and also to provide an opportunity to get to know each other on a new team in this strange new COVID environment where many of our meetings had been on Zoom. The facilitator gave us an icebreaker exercise with some pre-work where we had to pick our values out of a long list of possible values and be prepared to share why we chose our core values. Now, if you're one of those people like me, and probably several others on the board who don't really love group exercises, where you know you're going to be put on the spot to talk, bear with me. I'm getting closer to these aha moments. So the facilitator shared a definition of values from an author and professor named Brené Brown, who defines values as the beliefs that are most important and dear to you, that help you find your way in the dark, that fill you with a feeling of purpose. The values on this list is a long list: peace, kindness, diversity, uniqueness, loyalty, spirituality. At first it seemed daunting to narrow down this list. They're all important and good values. And as I listened to our board members sharing their top values, it started to strike me as significantly important that the combination of values that this group of our leaders had was everything that we needed to have a strong organization together, and how perfect that they were as varied as they were. Teamwork from the coach in the group, who was about to become one of the new board presidents. Beauty from the avid gardener who later signed up to be on the Buildings and Grounds Committee. Others were respect, courage, justice, kindness, family, dignity, equality, and service. In a conversation with my staff after the meeting, the responses were different still. Integrity, trust, making a difference, efficiency. Out of 25 people, only a few picked the same things as their number one core value. So you've already heard me use the word love several times. And since I had to name the title of my reflection, I guess that was the spoiler of what my core value is. I thought about them all. I felt like maybe I should choose a different one, but I kept coming back to love. Looking back over my life and trying to understand what has guided me through it, it was so clear that love rose above all those other important values that might have been more comfortable to talk about or seem like a strong leader's choice. My parents were my first example of unconditional love. I grew up in a religious family, but with the definition that God is love. At a very young age, my mom gave me a verse that said, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." That verse became my mantra when I needed it most, Sometimes it reminded me not to be fearful when I got up and sang in front of people in the band or talked in front of groups. I was telling it to myself before I stood up here today. But oftentimes it was to remind me to act with love. I also remember numerous occasions of my parents showing me love without a word. My mom homeschooled my brother and I for 2 years when I was in around 5th and 6th grade. And during that time, she took us every Tuesday to volunteer at a nursing home. This was my first experience with knowing older people outside of my family. One year, on Christmas, our whole family, including my dad, visited our adopted grandma at the nursing home on Christmas Day. And the minute we walked through the door, a woman with dementia, who often wandered the halls, came up and latched onto my dad's arm. I cringed inside at that age, wondering how it would go, how he would react, how we would get her to let him go. But my big, strong farmer dad responded in love, and they walked with linked arms and her head on his shoulder for the entire visit. Just as much in my professional life as in my personal life, I've experienced love. How wonderful is that? In my first job at that same nursing home, working in the kitchen at age 16, the nursing station would call me down to get that adopted grandmother to eat because she wouldn't eat for anyone else. I'm not sure I knew it then, but she would eat for me because she loved me. I was 16 and she was 101. She once asked me why she was still living, and I told her maybe it was for me. I loved her too, and she influenced the course of my life at 101 years old when she couldn't see her own purpose. Having chosen this path, my life has been filled with love and so greatly blessed. Last year on Christmas Day, one of our dear Thompson friends, Joan Staples, who I know some of you know, passed away. Her son called me to let us know. It was one of the saddest losses I've experienced at the Thompson, but also such a huge honor to be on the list of people to call when a family member passes away. To love and be loved is such a gift. Love also motivates decisions in the most beautiful ways. If you ever wonder why we host Yankee swaps, run meals through the snow to car windows, or call bingo over the phone every week for 22 months when we don't really even like bingo, it's because of love. Love comes in many shapes and in many forms: romantic love, love of family, friends, interests, and your life's work. There are many aspects of love that fill the heart and nourish the soul. I turned 45 last month, and I think one of the best things for me about being in my 40s is that I've really started to understand more about myself and what motivates me. Maybe it's because I didn't have the time or energy or even the interest in doing that in my 20s and 30s, or I was busy with babies and getting my career going. Maybe I just didn't have enough life experience accumulated yet for things to start to click. But for me, as it has been for many people, these past few years have been very difficult. Navigating life amidst a pandemic, raising teenagers and toddlers, caring for a husband with prostate cancer, caring deeply for my work, the safety of my staff and our community members. But all of these things have contributed to deeper moments of reflection and appreciation in my life. I've especially enjoyed remembering specific, seemingly small moments and realizing how love has impacted my life and brought me to where I am now, and I'm thankful for every moment. In closing, while I realize that everyone's passions are different, if you don't already, I hope you might consider joining me to get to know this incredible segment of our population that the Thompson serves. If you happen to be looking for ways to give back, or you could use some more love in your life, we'd love to invite you to the Thompson. As a participant or as a volunteer, I think you'll find it rewarding in the most special and unique ways. And I encourage you to love freely and deeply and receive love as well. Recognize and appreciate the love in your life. It brightens the darkest of days. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna. That was beautiful. I know that we had talked about it, and I hope that you still have time for it. After the service, if you want to stay behind, there will be a small Q&A session where you can learn more about the Thompson Center. Thank you.